So this is the van I'm converting. It's a 2018 Peugeot Boxer, 2 litre HDI blue motion something 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 blue something. It's a Euro 6, 6 metres long, 2.5 metres high, and yeah, gonna make it into a camper van. It's quite a clean van, been pretty well looked after. It's quite a nice cab as well. I've got cab aircon, 6-speed gearbox, cruise control, remote controls on the steering wheel, and DAB radio, FM radio, sat nav, Bluetooth phone kit and everything built in there. I'm going to add Remis blinds at the front and sides to give that extra privacy when camping. And like I say, the seats are going to be recovered, and there's going to be a single seat, so you'll have a walk through here, through the back there. There's not a lot inside right now. I've got a spare chair, well not a spare chair, got a single chair that I'm going to swap over for the double chair, and the rest of it is a blank canvas. So let's go and look inside and I'll talk you through the layout that I'm going to have. So I've kind of already started off anyway. I started off doing a bit of an experiment of sound deadening, seeing if closed cell foam was a good sound deadening and insulation in one, in comparison to just sound deadening panels and then insulation on tops. And the answer is no. Closed cell foam is no good at sound deadening, or not as good as the mats. Anyway, so the rear here, you're going to have a double bed, standard IKEA, 4'6" by 6 foot, blah, blah, blah. So we're going to have the IKEA aluminium frame, and then the slats on top with an IKEA mattress. It should bring us out to about there. And on this side then, facing this way, I'm going to have a toilet slash shower room, maybe. No actual shower fixings planned in as yet. In fact, no even hot water or anything like that. It's simply just going to be a privacy toilet. So toilet there, with a separating toilet inside, but it's going to be full with a door on it. And then the remaining space is going to be a sofa seat area. This area then, that's going to be my bed, so like say there, and then a kitchen area, so sort of there. I'm not having hot water. In fact, the water is going to be pretty basic. I'm not having any underslung tanks or anything like that. So there's no gas on board and there's no underslung tanks or anything, so that I've got the maximum clearance underneath the van. So when I go into odd places, I don't have to worry about it ripping off anything underneath. So the kitchen is going to be a work surface that's going to be at the height to allow 2 slide-in compressor fridges. So you know the ones we've got that we've used in the past, like just 12-volt compressor fridge with a lid that opens up at the top and you drop everything in. I'm going to have 2 on-runners stacked on top of each other. One's a fridge, one's a freezer. Yeah, that's going to dictate the work height. And as far as how far it'll come out, it'll probably come out to probably that tie down there. And then obviously that gives enough room to walk in. And then sofa there, that there, and then a walk through there to the bed. Overhead cupboards and overhead cupboards along this way. Max fan at the front and a max fan at the back. Because I did appreciate how good the max fans were, but obviously in rain you still need to get the airflow. So you have one sucking air in, one sucking air out, and then you get the flow of air through the van, even if it's raining, so it keeps it nice and comfortable. Insulation wise, on the floor, I'm going to go for battening in all the ridges. So like, you know, sort of battens in between the ridges to level the floor, and then 25mm Celotex on top of that, and then the ply on top of that, and then Altro flooring as well on top of that. That's my floor. On the ceiling, maybe a little bit more than 25mm. I'm going to see how it goes, but yeah, fill it all in. So the idea is that I'd have enough space that I can easily stand up in. So even if we go under a ridge right now, I've got a lot of space there, really. So it could well be that once I've laid 25mm on the floor and the ceiling, I'll readdress how much space I've got, and then may go for 50mm floor and ceiling, but we'll have to see. That would basically be doubling up on the Celotex Kingspan insulation, whatever. The windows in the van are going to be caravan style windows with a slight tint on them. I'm going to have one smaller window there, almost sort of square window, and then only two side windows there and in the sliding door. Then the rest of the light is going to come through the two max fans, as well as LED lighting all around. So the biggest area really is going to be that area as far as being open. The sofa and the bathroom are probably going to stick out the same. Like I say, that's going to be whatever there. A bit of storage underneath it as well. Like I say, with the window there and the window on the other side, to the window, to the wall. Let's not repeat what comes after that. So that's going to give a nice view when you sat down there. Or, obviously I'm going to get rid of the bulkhead. There's a double passenger seat in there right now. That's going to be replaced with a single. And I'm going to have both seats recovered to match the sofa as well. Only the passenger seat is going to be on a spinning plate. So yeah, just the passenger seat has got a plate on there to swivel around. The driver's seat is going to remain where it is, so that if you're on the sofa, because it isn't going to be too long, the sofa, probably sort of just over 1 metre or so, it means that you can actually rest your back against what is going to be the back of the driver's seat. Obviously the bulkhead sticks out quite considerably, so once that's removed there'll be that much more space that way. Now, one of the biggest questions I've seen so far is, can't wait to see, or what are you installing as far as your electrical system? Good question. That's probably going to be in the next video, but it's going to be quite unique, and I reckon most of you have guessed it already. Yeah, so quite an interesting electrical system, quite a basic water system, and predominantly a lightweight van build. So as much as possible, I'm going to save weight in the products that I'm using, the materials and things like that, and the construction of the van. So as much as possible, trying to keep the weight down. For example, all this matting weighs 8 kilograms. So each thing that I'm installing, I'm taking into account their individual weight as I install them. For example, I'm going to save a bit of weight by having a single passenger seat, removing the double passenger seat there. But then obviously I've got to introduce the fact that I'm going to put a swivel plate underneath the passenger seat. So, you know, that adds a little bit more. But I'm going to move the bulkhead, and obviously a little bit of steel front and back on the roof, but then I'm adding things in. So if you get me, I am being conscious about each bit of weight that I put in the van, including myself. Just bear that in mind too. So yeah, I'm trying to achieve a simple van build, which is also sort of representative of me. So it's going to be fully electric, like I said, only cooking on electric, enough power and then some, hopefully, for my needs to stay off grid, and hopefully enough inside, but simple that it's not trying to replicate a motorhome, and it's not trying to replicate a house. It's going to be a very safe van, comfortable van, warm van, but it's, like I say, without hot water, without you know, sort of pressurized water system and all that. It's more of a sort of you know, up level from camping in a tent to camping in a van, albeit quite a nice van. I've probably done a really naff job of explaining that, but yeah, my idea is that I don't want to replicate a house. I want to have a very comfortable camper van. That's my goal anyway. Obviously it's going to have badass wheels and tyres. There are other upgrades I'm looking at as well for the front of the van, possibly bull bar spots, things like that, but that's going to be sort of at the stage where I know how much left I've got of my budget. Why did I choose this van, I guess, is the other one. Well, I've had this van. Mandy and I started off van life in pretty much this van. So we had a Fiat Ducato panel van, but it was an auto fail conversion. which we then reconverted and made much better than they ever could dream of out of their factory. So I know the dimensions of this van and know what I can fit in it for 2 people and a dog at the time. So if it's me and Mandy sort of temporarily or over shorter periods of travel, I know that I can get what I need in here. For example, the bed's going to be at such a height that it can fit all the bits that I want under it, like folding bike, inflatable kayak, fire pit, all the toys, bits of spares, stuff like that. So that's going to be a consideration as well. But ultimately, it's smaller, more nimble to get around than the last motorhome too, and far more economical. For example, the reason why I went for the Peugeot Boxer and not a Fiat Ducato or a Citroen Relay is the Boxer achieves the highest MPG rating of pretty much any of these vehicles, including the Transit that I was looking at as well. So that's considerable when you do a lot of miles. I didn't choose the Transit in the end because sleeping width-wise is an issue. And also they're not galvanized, so it's going to go rusty at some stage. It has a zinc coating of part of the chassis, but it's not everywhere, whereas the entire metal structure of these vans are galvanized. I'm not hoping to be, sort of dragging this out at all. This is my home, and right now it's costing me to stay in an Airbnb. But I do need to rely on the services of other people, which will probably be mentioned in the next video, to assist me with this build, to get beyond my crappy skill set of particularly creating cabinets and woodwork and stuff like that. So yeah, I shall catch you on the next one, folks.